Now, it's been a busy weekend in politics, as I mentioned, as Anthony Albanese jetted off again, this time to Indonesia this afternoon, and Peter Dutton unveiled his shadow cabinet as well. I'm joined now by former Labor Minister Graham Richardson in the studio and Liberal Senator Jim Molan. Gentlemen, an honour and a privilege.
Chris, good evening to you. Richo.
Great to see you, Jim.
Thanks, Richo. Thank you.
Good to have you here. Now, I'll get to the shadow cabinet shortly, but China has ramped up its aggression after a Chinese J-16 fighter jet challenged an RAAF maritime surveillance aircraft over the South China Sea. Jim, given what you've heard this jet fighter did, could that have led to that P-8 aircraft crashing?
Chris, it certainly could, and we have had instances in the past around the island of Hainan when American surveillance aircraft were doing exactly the same as our aircraft was doing, and who were buzzed by a Chinese jet. They misestimated the distance. They hit the American aircraft, forcing the American aircraft to land in Hainan. That could have resulted in all of that crew being killed. And this instance, Chris, could have resulted in all the crew on board that aircraft. It has a large crew. It just shows the thuggery, the intimidation, coercion, and the dangerous nature of what the Chinese Communist Party is forcing the People's Liberation Army to do.
Yeah, that's interesting, forcing the People's Liberation Army to do. It wouldn't have happened, you tell me whether I'm right or not, a hostile act like that would not have occurred unless they were under strict instructions.
Oh, without doubt, And particularly, they might make a pass on an aircraft and the estimate of the distance between the two aircraft might be wrong. But to then move to the front of the aircraft, to then release chaff, it's obviously what they've been told to do, because the Chinese pilots would not act using their own initiative to do something like this. This was intended, Chris.
Richard, what do you make of Anthony Albanese's reaction to what we found out about today and his general approach to the China situation since he became Prime Minister?
Well, I think he's trying very hard to do two things at once that aren't easy. You've got to try and keep the trade relationship going, because without it, Australian farmers will be telling you what they think of that. They expect the government to keep it going. And so you've got to balance that, obviously, with defence needs. And I think it's a really difficult job, doesn't matter who's in power, trying to balance China as a theoretical enemy as well as our biggest trading partner makes life very difficult.
Against a country that doesn't like, or the government doesn't like losing face in any situation, and when they do, they become even more aggressive. That's the problem. Yeah,
they will always react to losing face with extra aggression. It's the only way they know. The old Communist Party in Beijing is pretty easy to read. They've got a record and a history, and they follow the same steps every time.